the black woman who is there thinking, there's something I want to do. There's a dream that I have that I want to realize. Do I have the ability to do it? Do I have it in me to accomplish this?
Where it's at, where it's at.
Here we go. Welcome right back to the Where It's At podcast. Where It's At, the platform that's built for you, with you in mind, because we tell your stories. And, you know, this episode is going to be really different in that we're going to be telling the story of a lady who has really excelled in her chosen field. She's a businesswoman, but she's much more than that. We'll get to that in a while. But Chris, did I invite you today?
No, I just showed up. This is just how I roll. I mean, when I want to be somewhere, I'm there.
So did you know Karen was going to be here? Maybe that's right.
Well, see, Karen and I have been hanging out, so, you know. I'm just saying, you know, I know things.
You've been?
No, don't worry. That's for another podcast.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
later. Karen, you should tell me these things, right?
I was planning to tell you.
I knew you before you met me.
Yes, you know what, you're right about that.
But, you know, it's what I do.
You know he's my son, right?
Listen,
yeah, I do.
The whole idea of me being your son, it's about legacy. So I have to take over, right?
What?
Where you know, where you started, okay. I finish. That's how it works.
And he is taking over.
Oh, yes, he is. Hey, let me do a little recap before I really introduce this lady. Went to an event at Medgaver's on the 6th, right? Of course, it is in commemoration of Black Solidarity Month. The event was ambitious. The whole idea was to engage the community in a discussion around getting to know each other better. Mm-hmm. You know, the usual complaints we have in the community.
Right.
We're not doing enough. We're not working together. We're not cooperating, so forth and so forth. So my takeaway was that the idea, great idea, timely and all that, and the celebration of Black solidarity is sound. Mm-hmm. No problem with that. Thing is that it became an academic platform where the panelists, pretty much some working people, but largely academic, kind of stepped on it a little bit. And they spoke and they spoke and they spoke and they spoke. So the whole idea of solidarity, the folks in the audience.
Right. No interaction.
Didn't get a chance to really express themselves and talk.
Yeah.
So I had a brief, I had to beg for it. I had to stomp the floor and raise my hand several times to say, hey, me.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Right.
It's a great idea, I said, but you know what? It sounds like an echo chamber here. We're saying the same thing to the same people.
Right.
So what plans do you have to build this out?
Right.
You know, to make it a real event so that we can have an exchange.
Right.
Well, I was cut off on that. That was that. But we hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
Hope springs eternal.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
The other event was last night. Tremendous event. Long Island Business News honored some really great people. Mm-hmm. That one or two of them we hope to have on the podcast.
Right.
But certainly we went to celebrate our friend, Sandra Lindsay, who was inducted into the Long Island Business News
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So we congratulate Sandra again on another achievement.
Yeah.
Incredible lady.
She's awesome. She's
star
awesome.
of the show. Mm-hmm. The star of the show.
Well,
Miss Karen Mitchell.
That's debatable,
Karen,
but I'm here. I'm good.
It's great to see you, man.
It's good to be here.
Oh, man.
It's good to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
We celebrated you at the big awards.
Yes.
And you made news again because you broke your award. Your award. Did you know? When she was the picture taking time.
Listen, that award.
Tell the story.
The award is really heavy. It's solid. It's an award. It's it's weighty. It was a lot, and it just I couldn't
Taking pictures,
I'm
yeah,
taking
yeah,
pictures. My hands were shivering.
But
So.
you know the beautiful thing.
It was beautiful though. I was so upset that
it
I
just separated the
fell
from the base.
It
So
fell and
nothing
it
breaks
didn't break.
because,
It didn't break. Yeah,
because it is.
You know what? That's kind of like that too.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
just actually like an analogy for the night. Like it even when it falls or when it drops, it's still
Yeah,
together.
together.
It's still together.
Good news, we have it to present
Yes.
to you today.
Yes, give
All
me
right.
a award. Give me a award.
But seriously, look, Chris, you know me,
Yeah.
right?
I do.
A long time, right?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
You actually know me, right?
Yeah, 50 years. Yeah.
Okay, so
That's a long time.
so I've it's been hard on women who wear hair.
No.
I mean,
Other than-
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Really?
It's
That's
really-
news to
and
me.
as beautiful as this lady. looks,
Wait a minute.
So I'm gonna we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get into this. And Karen, I'm gonna say so I used to be the
Well,
same.
you need some hair at this moment.
I know.
But let's not start there.
That's a lost cause. That's a lost cause. That's a lost cause.
touchy.
That's a lost
Okay.
cause.
No,
yes, I'm
I'm
sorry.
already bald. I'm already bald.
Yes.
It is what it is. I embrace my baldness. I love it, and it seems the world
We're
loves
both
it too.
we're both bald because I actually shaved my head last year.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So we're both we look the same underneath.
Okay.
We look the same right now.
But on the topic of hair, we're talking about hair, and as Black men, we're oftentimes, there are conversations we're having about hair and about women's hair that really is none of our business. And I
Thank you.
started to realize that
Yeah.
that I should shut up.
Yeah.
So I no longer have these conversations
Well,
because
you're the guy I consulted with when I had my.
But the reality of it is,
mean,
it's not my hair.
It's not your hair.
Yeah.
Just the
And
same
the
thing.
whole
The same
struggle
thing
of-
women are saying in the workplace, especially
Yeah.
in Black women, when it
Yeah.
comes to our hairstyles. It's like we have the right to wear our hair the way we want to.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the same thing with our men, or it's our hair.
Yeah.
And there are many reasons why women wear extensions. It's not just because we want hair extensions. There are
Right.
many reasons. Oftentimes it's because of alopecia. In most cases.
Yes, which is something I learned
Yes.
recently.
Well, I kind of spoke to Annette, right?
Right.
Got myself educated,
Right.
right? Because look, many of the takeaways we have, right? The stereotypes we have, we don't know better. We're ignorant.
Right.
All right. So one of the little blessings that has been bestowed on me is that I know when I don't know. So I kind of consult and I spoke to the women who are involved, right?
Right.
Not men.
Right. No, it's not. Definitely
you know.
not, man. Yeah.
So I spoke to
Well-
Annette, who has been in the fashion business for a
Well-
long time.
Well.
right?
Yeah.
And we had a conversation, and she said the same thing. Look, it's the woman's prerogative, just like
It
anything.
is.
And the fact is, the reality is that the workplace, right, has a real problem with Black women doing their hair
Oh,
in the styles,
we
traditional
definitely
styles.
could talk about that. That's a whole other show.
Yeah, that's
But
a whole other
I would
issue.
love to hear from you, Karen, because here I love to hear and hear.
Hear.
But I love to hear about the hair. But
Yes.
it's such a remarkable story in terms of what you've been able to accomplish over the years. Talk to us a little bit more about your company and what you've built. And I know, Dad, you had some questions off camera that I want you to ask because you had some. So
Well, my company, True Hair Company, and the brand that's known is called True Indian Hair. And I started almost 18 years ago. So I'm pretty much the OG in the New York hair extension market.
Right.
As far as quality imported hair, human hair. This is not processed hair. This is human hair. And there are some, with extensions, there are lots of theories and lots of conversations out there. The hair that I sell, 90% comes from India. And it is authentic, raw, real Indian hair. That's why the name True Indian Hair was born.
Okay.
True Indian Hair. That's the name of my company. So it's like, this is authentic hair, which is of a better quality than normally what's on the market with Asian mixed hairs and all of that, which they're, great hair. Actually, that's a bigger market share. The cheaper hair is a bigger market.
Sure.
But Indian hair is a very small niche of that market share.
Right.
So for me, I've stayed in that and built my company up. I started as a hustle, and now I'm here.
You're here with hair.
With hair.
Why did you say you started as a hustle?
Because when I started, I was working in fashion, and the company I worked for, we had our factories in India.
Right.
So I wore hair extensions pretty much since I was probably 18 or 19. That's normal within our community, So, back then the different hairstyles, I won't say my age, but I'm young, but I grew.
Let's put it this way: you're younger than me.
Okay. But I've been waiting for a long time. So going to India with my boss at that time and visiting factories, but becoming aware of the access to Indian hair, which was not really accessible for me and the people that I knew in my community. And it was such a different quality of hair. Like, I'm like, oh my, what is this? Like, I've been wearing hair extensions for a long time, but this is different. It moves different. This is real hair. This is like, so I started selling to my friends and family, but while working in fashion. I had a job. I was cute. I was traveling with my boss, going to India, going to Paris. It was like the life. And then the company closed down. I was laid off. And I freelanced for a little while with other companies for about 6 months, but couldn't find a solid job. And I decided, at the time, my hustle, my hair extension on the side, was making more as a hustle than I was getting paid in my salary. So I decided, well, what the hell? I'm just going to just dive in and get into the business. So I did that. I really pretty much cashed in my 401k, which wasn't much at the time, probably like $30-something thousand. But for me, that was everything I had.
Yeah.
And you're penalized if, when you do that. But so they took out what they took out, but I took that, went to my family, borrowed $5,000 from my brother, and I put this money together and opened my first store in Brooklyn. And so that's where it started. And that was tough because I knew nothing about business. Like, I just went in. I just dove in head first. Like, and it was hard for the first few months and the first year or two.
What kind of resistance did you get? And were you kind of sort of bullied by the prevailing notions that men like me had at the time?
Oh yeah, and it's even now. I mean, even now, but I didn't let that deter me. And everyone has a right to their opinion.
Right.
As a women, we have our things that we like about men. I don't want a man that has really long beard. So so we have our preferences, and that's okay.
I won't grow a long beard.
So preferences are okay. It's okay. But like bashing the women who wear it, that's the difference. It's one thing to say, you're with someone and, honey, I don't really like hair extensions. And to have that conversation with your partner, and because maybe it's something that she needs.
Right.
Like most of the women that come to me need hair. They need it. And sometimes it's from their own personal things they've done to damage their own hair over the years. Yeah. But at this point, they need it.
Yeah, damaged hair. That
right.
I can deal with
so
that.
Because there are things that cause alopecia, including things that we've done to like wearing hair extensions too tight over the years, and so traction alopecia, all those things. So then it comes to a point where now the thing that you used to when you're younger to kind of like beautify you, now you're in need of it.
Yeah.
So we have those. It's so many different conversations, but the fact is, it's still a woman's choice. Yeah. It's still her choice, whether or not.
Is there a consultation that goes with this? I mean, one size doesn't fit all, right? So
no.
Right. So is there a sitting down?
Well, there are different types of hair extensions. There are weave bundles, the ones that are either sewn in or glued in, and they're called tracks. It's like sewn track.
Yeah,
and then there are wigs. Like I'm wearing a wig, so these are in sizes. So the bundles just comes in different length. So you could go from really short to extremely long. I just yesterday, the cover of Vogue December came out with Nicki Minaj, and she's wearing a 50-inch wig from my company on the cover. So
yeah, let's talk about that. The celebrities that you deal with, that you've served over the years.
I've been blessed.
Names.
Rihanna.
Okay.
I work closely with Youssef, her stylist, and for the past 5 or 6 years, she's mainly worn my hair extensions. So I've been blessed to have stylists who value what they're going to put on their clients. And my product is the upper echelon of hair extensions. It's quality.
The creme
de la creme. I strive on basically providing quality hair extensions. and have not altered that over the years. That's been my thing. It has to be quality, to the point where I think it's hindered the growth of my company, because it's easier to grow by kind of like pushing just in volume of things out there than keeping the qualities. But the inspections that I have, the quality assurance that I have for the hair extensions I sell, kind of slows us down sometimes. Like every bundle that I get from India has to be washed, where it already comes from India clean. But we still go through a process of hand washing every single piece here in New York.
Hold your thought right now. If you're just joining us, folks, you're tuned into Where It's At podcast, and our guest is Karen Mitchell, expert hair provider and more, entrepreneur, businesswoman, who has been serving the stars, serving up the different hair, quality hair that they need. India is where you get most of your hair.
Yes.
Is there a particular province, area in India that provides this?
Well, it's South India, but the product
South
that I
India,
sell,
yeah.
I work with. I don't have my own factory. A lot of people kind of like in the business kind of lie and say we have our own factory.
Right.
It's really, I work with a factory I've been working with for over 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So the hair comes, most of the hair from India comes from temples. And so it's really a religious practice, which is why Jewish women can't wear Indian hair, because I also make Jewish wigs, and that's a whole different element. They have to get European hair for that. So you get into all different things.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not know that.
So it comes from a religious practice, most of it,
Yeah.
in India.
Mhm.
The volume, because it's women and even men who go to the temples and cut their hair. It's
Shear
a
their
process
hair,
called
yeah.
tuncherin. They cut their hair, and it's not sold. It's basically it's usually more in the poorer communities. So it's them giving back when when they're praying. This is what they shave their hair and
It's part of the
and the temples
sacrifice.
then
Yeah,
take this
yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
This is the general premise of it, and sell the hair to factories and people like myself, and then they use that money supposedly to build the communities up, to build
Yeah.
hospitals and roads, and that's what we hope that's what's being done.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure. We can't say, but we try to be as ethical as possible and deal with temples that we know are selling the hair to us and put it back in the community as much as they could show us that they are.
Okay.
So that's where the hair comes from.
Right.
So there are people over the years, or someone's stealing someone's hair, and I've seen crazy videos. But that's not. I'm not familiar with that. That's not where my hair company gets their hair from. We make sure it's ethically sourced.
There's some really social implications to this. The perception that you want to look Indian, but you're not Indian. But I have come to the point where I say to folks, Black women, if you look at the history of African women, they have been setting the pace in terms of styles, the things they do to their hair, the things they do to
We've
their
always
forever.
adorned our hair. We've always adorned our hair.
Yes.
Always.
So really, this is
not
nothing
new.
This is not new if we know history. We've always adorned our hair from the motherland. So that's it. We're in a different time now where we wear styles differently, but it's been adornment. And there, I'm wearing blonde hair today. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I wear my bald head. Sometimes I go without my wig because I love that
Do
look.
you get a guy approaching you from the back thinking that you're a blonde, and when he
Never.
comes along,
No, I've never had that. No.
that you're not a white chick?
No. Never, because even our natural hair, we could color our natural hair. So the color of the hair has nothing to do with the extension. Black women could color their hair. And hair extensions now, in human hair extensions, before, to get textured hair extensions and afro kinkies and kinky curls, our natural textures, closer to our textures, was synthetic hair, years back. Now now I sell those textures and I wear those textures. I play with my hair because I am the hair queen. That's my personal social media hashtag. I'm the hair queen. So and I'm the representation for my company. So I wear different looks, but we have a lot of clients. So we sell a variety, a gamut of different textures. So there are different textures. So if you want afro hair, I have that in human hair. Okay. And it goes through a process to get to that texture. So it's the Indian hair, that steam process to create tighter coiled textures for Black women that want more natural textures. So we have those textures. So people could choose what they want. Once again, it goes to the woman's choice. If she wants to be like, sometimes I'm kinky straight, which is very textured and just like as my natural hair blown out. And sometimes I'm blonde, and I like it, and the guy I date loves it.
So I was at an event recently where a woman had what looked like an Afro wig, and she told me it was a wig. So you do stuff like that?
Yes, I have the gamut of hair extensions. Every texture, you name it, and like I just mentioned, I sell Jewish shaitels, which are wigs that the Jewish women wear shaitels. Yeah, but that's a whole that hair. They won't wear hair that comes from India because the Indian hair comes from essentially a religious practice.
Right.
So for their wigs,
for their religion,
generally they want European hair, and so that and the price point is much higher as well.
Okay.
In that sense, because that hair also is harder to get because there's more of an abundance of Indian hair. There's more of an abundance of Asian hair, like Chinese hair, on the lower end that's mixed. Like I said, that's the largest scale of the market share.
Right.
That's literally like probably 70% of the market share. Right.
I'm just thinking here. Is there such a thing as addiction to hair?
Oh, there's addiction to everything, of course.
I mean, I'm sure
of
there are
course.
people who do, but
and I love those clients.
Yeah, but you also pointed out that it's
send me the addicts, please.
No, you finish.
No.
If you can.
I was just saying that I think it is that keeps a lot of the business going, and
of course,
there's nothing.
Of course, it's like if I sell sneakers and as a sneaker addict, that's the person I want. Whatever is
exactly. I mean,
so that person helps my business. It keeps my business has been a 7-figure business for a long time. Those are the clients I love.
This here, like plastic surgery, right? Years ago, I read a
people
book.
are addicted to that.
I read a book.
We've seen that
called Psychocybernetics, right? By a guy. He was a plastic surgeon,
right?
Maxwell Maltz, right? Incredible book.
Right.
You should read sometime.
Okay.
Do you read?
Good.
So the quandary, the question was, does plastic surgery really transform the personality? In other words, if somebody's not feeling comfortable with their nose,
right?
They have an aquiline nose like mine, and they want it a little broader to fit into, does that change the person's personality?
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's changed their natural personality. It changed their perspective of what their personality. It's the same thing as getting a haircut. Like when you don't get a haircut, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We just have different things.
And so
interesting
with
point.
what you
Very
said,
interesting.
I wouldn't liken here to that comment. What I would say is here to Karen's point, it makes you feel better. Like I every time I shave my head because I've already started because I already started going bald. Right, shaving. If I don't shave, it looks awkward.
It looks right. So you feel better.
Yeah, and I feel better the minute I shave it all off. I feel renewed. I feel refreshed. So then I can imagine. And of course, when I went through chemo, there were all these different changes I went through. So I can imagine as a woman changing her hairstyle, how she must feel different. She feels maybe she goes from feeling not so happy to now really exuberant.
So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you.
Channeling.
So you mentioned that.
Conversations.
Okay. No, but you mentioned that. So
whatever.
So we have a charitable initiative, my company called True Strength, where we do makeover for women with cancer every year.
We have to, I want to hear.
So we just had one 2 weeks ago, and even Ebony Magazine covered that. But I've been doing it for 5 years. And you're talking about transformation. I mean, literally every single time I end up crying so much because the women are crying when they come after the makeover is done.
Yeah.
This last one 2 weeks ago, this one woman, she's already naturally beautiful. Everything, even bald headed, she was beautiful. I was telling her how beautiful she was because I don't want people to think that you can't live without this.
Right.
But it was a day of makeover, and we normally take 5 to 7 women, and what we do is a full makeover. I give them wigs. We give volunteer makeup artists, volunteer hairstylists. And we do a full makeover, and we give them clothing that's either in the past years I've actually bought the clothing myself, but the past 2 years we've gotten stores to donate clothing, and then we take them to dinner. This time, because of I have a much bigger space in Manhattan. My store in Manhattan, I just moved to a 3,000 square foot space, so I was able to have the dinner there. But in the past, I've taken them to restaurants for dinner after the makeover, and it's a really like grand dinner. This time was for 40 people, and it's really beautiful. And the women, though, after the makeover, the tears, and this one particular woman was just like, she's like, you just today, you just changed my life. Like, she was crying, and we're all crying because it's about that, what you feel. And there's this, I use a slogan, look good, feel good. When you look good, you feel good. Mm-hmm. So, looking good it's how you feel about yourself. So, I might think you look good, but you might not feel you look good in this moment.
Absolutely.
So it's about your personal feeling about how you look at yourself and how that makes you feel.
This business has made you become a little bit of a psychologist, right? Because you have to sort of read people, their needs, interpret what it is that makes them a little happier.
A little happier, yeah.
Lift their spirits.
And in a sense, it's emotional intelligence. I mean, you have to have that emotional intelligence to work with.
Definitely.
Especially at that level. And that's what's required in sales and, in marketing.
It is.
You have to understand your customer.
You have to understand. Right. You definitely have to understand your customer.
That's what marketing is about.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
So it's you look good, you feel good.
Talk about your stores, man, because it saddens me. Talking to you before the interview, you're giving up Queens.
I just gave up Queens. So I've had 3 stores for a long time, plus the online boutique. I literally just closed Queens last week when I opened the Manhattan store. I just opened
Talk about the Manhattan store.
So I've been in Manhattan for 12 years, and on 35th between 7th and 8th, right down the block from Macy's.
Okay.
And I was in a store, which is a storefront, 1,000 square foot. I just moved to a 3,000 3-floor space.
3,000 square feet.
And it's 3
floors.
In Manhattan.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
So it's a beautiful space, and Queens has just. I'm a bit of a micromanager, which is not good. I've been working on that. So trying to spread myself, the Queens has always kind of struggled, and I love my clients who are there, and which is even closing now. I'm offering free shipping to them and delivery, stuff like that, because it just was not performing the way the other 2 stores are, and I need to really focus on this. And I'm trying to scale, but doesn't mean scaling doesn't mean the 3 stores. I could scale with 2. Like, oftentimes people think scaling means you have to spread. It's not. For me, scaling is more in the value of what I'm providing and growing the company financially. So I'm focusing on that and then expand it out of town. So I'm going to do one in Atlanta as well. Excellent. So
you're looking at the face of true Indian here.
And I've dabbled in everything. I've had the restaurant. I do real estate. So, but the hair company has allowed me to do all of that. Yeah. So it's been a blessing in my life.
What time do you find for your friends, like me? I mean, when I call you, it's usually a brief conversation. You're so busy.
So
you were supposed to today. You were supposed to catch a flight, right?
Yeah, I changed it tomorrow.
But then you changed because of my insistence that we need to talk to you.
And here I am.
Thank you very much.
Of course, anytime.
It's amazing that we get an opportunity to tell your stories. It makes me get fired up. I'm excited when I talk to people like Karen Mitchell. Not only does she epitomize business and big business, but she epitomizes the Black woman who is there thinking, there's something I want to do. There's a dream that I have that I want to realize.
Thank you. And you know what? I kindred to, I always mention my mom who passed 4 years ago, but I always mention her because my mom was a woman who had a 4th grade educational level and who sold cashews in Jamaica to make a living. So I always proudly bring that up. Yeah. My sisters sometimes say, why you always have to say that? But I'm actually proud of that because my mom was the first entrepreneur that I knew, not knowing she was an entrepreneur.
She didn't
and
know
she didn't know she was an entrepreneur.
Oh man.
She didn't know she was an entrepreneur. She sold cashews. You go to Jamaica and they come up to your car and your tourists and the cashews. That was my mom. But out of that, she built a house. I was born in that house.
That's right.
Bought her own land, built this house. And it was a nice house. I mean, we were poor, but we didn't know we're poor. It was a nice, what we call a brick house. It was a nice concrete brick house.
Yeah.
You know, kitchen, little bathroom, veranda. It was a nice 2-bedroom house. I grew up and I loved it. And she did all this from what I call the cashew budget.
Yeah.
And she, I don't think, knew she was an entrepreneur.
No.
And it wasn't until when I started being in business that I recognized that she was an entrepreneur. And she was the first entrepreneur I knew.
So
It's
you
amazing.
knew about business all this time.
All this time, but you didn't know that you knew.
Remember you made the statement. You said you didn't know, but you've been around.
I come from that stock, and as much as oftentimes people look down on that, like the uneducated woman, single mother of 9 kids, all of that. She's my idol. Yeah. I look up to that.
It's an amazing thing, Chris, because my parents, my mother was a shopkeeper, right? She always had a shop, a grocery store, right? And I worked in that grocery store when I was going to school.
Right.
My dad was a baker. So in the back, he had a bakery. So I was sometimes in a bakery, right? So I grew up, and then somewhere in my 30s, I left Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
Where I was sales marketing manager for the Caribbean, and opened a supermarket. And it didn't dawn on me
that it really started there.
That where it started from until it was way after that. I said, "Oh my God, I ended up in the grocery business."
Because that's from your
Where
child.
I grew up
you grew up in the grocery business, yeah. So when I started, I was like, wow, like I got this spirit and this hustle spirit and this hard work and this drive from my mom, because I watched her do that, and it's like, how did you even do it? Like, how did you buy land and build this house and on that, selling cashews, and raise 9 kids, and we're all doing well? How did you do that?
It's fun telling your stories.
Listen,
I wish she was here to say, like, she never, before she passed, she actually also had dementia, so she never really got, so it's like, to see, like, one of her kids, like, being, your child's a millionaire. How do you, like, from a cashier, you raised this child, like, how did that happen? I wish she had seen that,
We're talking to a millionaire, right? And we're proud, not because you're a millionaire, but because of the journey that you've taken.
And it's still
taking. And you're a beautiful Black woman.
Thank you.
And it's our pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank
you both.
Please tell people where they can find you.
Yeah.
My company is True Hair Company, but it's True Indian Hair on social media, across all social media. It's True Indian Hair, because that's a brand that's known. That's a trademark. So TrueIndianHair.com, True Indian Hair, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and my personal is NY Hair Queen.
We want to make sure that we keep her business in mind. So I'm going to make sure, Chris is going to make sure that Karen is going to be part of the WhereItzAt platform moving forward.
I love you guys. Love what you do. How you bring the community together. How you reach out and make sure you tap into people to show the audience and show people out there, like, this is, like, even bringing me here today.
It was our delight to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You both.
I know he feels the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love your banter as well. I think there's a whole comedy show outside of the business that you guys can really do a stage thing.
Take it on the road.
Yes.
Don't call Karen until you speak to me.
My manager.
That's an order.
That's
Folks,
my manager.
Been great being with you.
It's been great. It's been fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
And remember, we tell your stories, so stay tuned. We've got a lot more in store. The WhereItzAt podcast will not disappoint. We'll never disappoint. And if we do, write to us, tell us how we did, and we'll fix it.
Come on, y'all know where it's at. You know where it's at.
Exactly.
You know where it's at.
No better testimonial. Thank you, folks. We'll be back.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.